Whenever I see people smoking on the side of the street or drinking an excessive amount of alcohol at the bar, I can't help but feel a bit judgmental. I start to think, why the hell are they doing this to themselves? Why do they look so helpless? Why can't they just stop? And then I pause for a moment and think about one fact, a simple fact, which is addiction. Most of these people actually want to quit whatever useless habit they're indulging in, but they're addicted and they can't help themselves, which I think is something that we can all relate with. Now, thankfully, I don't drink or smoke. My addiction is a lot more subtle. It actually didn't become apparent to me until recently, and I've also noticed that most people seem to be dealing with this problem as well. My addiction is this device right here, my phone. To say I spend an excessive amount of time on my phone would be the understatement of the century. And I'll admit right here that I'm having a really hard time breaking this habit, which is one of the main reasons why I'm making this video, with the hopes that it will help me dissect this problem and find a solution. Now, for the sake of clarity, I think we should start with the why. Why do we spend so much time on our phones? Personally, I think there are two main reasons for why we waste so much of our time on our phones. The first reason is you have nothing to do. Basically, you're bored. Whenever you're not engaged in something, your mind wants to stay busy. So it will start seeking out all sorts of stimuli. And unfortunately, your phone can serve as a great source of distraction. So you unconsciously spend countless number of hours consuming stuff on your phone just so that you can escape that perpetual boredom. The second reason, which is the reason that applies to me, is you have too much to do and you're stressed. On the flip side of things, there are people who simply have way too much to do, and that can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming. So we tend to look for ways to entertain ourselves and abandon whatever is stressing us out. So you may binge watch random YouTube videos or, God forbid, TikTok videos on your phone, just so that you can temporarily relieve yourself of the stress. Now, why is it important to break this habit? Firstly, I think you can all agree with me when I say that most of the stuff that we consume on the internet is random and useless. It's either somebody does something stupid and it's trending, or some war-related news is circulating around the globe, which is sadly the case these days. My point is, just like you're most likely to eat whatever you can get your hands on when you're hungry, when your mind is idle, you tend to consume whatever pops on your screen. And that's extremely dangerous because what we consume has the power to influence our thoughts and ultimately our actions. Let me give you a simple example. If I'm trying to be a more spiritual person and I keep consuming random worldly things on the internet, that's obviously going to cause me to drift to something that isn't conducive to who I want to become. And when you start thinking of things in those terms, you start to realize how crazy it is to be consuming random things from the internet. Secondly, I think you all know this by now, but social media apps are designed in a way that makes them highly addictive. From the content that gets suggested to you to the way you get notifications, these apps are specifically designed to lure you into spending hours and hours of your valuable time on these platforms, because that's how they make money. So there is an unbelievably cruel psychological manipulation that is at play here, and you need to be aware of that. They're all fighting for your attention. Ultimately, it all comes down to your time. Do you value your time? Because that's the only thing you'll always have at your disposal. And the way you spend it really matters if you want to live a productive and successful life. Now, when I say this, I know you guys are sitting there thinking, but how can I break this habit? Well, I'm glad you asked. As someone who has actively struggled with this and is still very much struggling with this, I started researching books that can potentially help me with this problem. And I came across this book right here, Deep Work. Now, this book is written by Cal Newport, and if I had to rate this book, I would probably give it a 3.5. Now, hold on. Before you write it off, there are a few things that you need to be aware of. Now, in this book, the author so eloquently outlines the importance of maintaining focus in this digitally immersed world that we live in. The author also attempts to give a few practical strategies that can help you regain your focus. And if I'm being honest, I found a few of these strategies a bit unrealistic, like setting a specific time to be on and off your phone. I mean, we all know that we're never as disciplined as we want to be. But I remember reading one strategy that I think might actually work. So if you're struggling with the habit of excessive phone use, one thing you can do is just put your phone away. Just put it away somewhere where you can't easily reach it. Now, when I say this, I know it sounds somewhat basic and mundane, but it's as simple as that, and it works. Furthermore, getting rid of a habit often requires us to replace it with another, and hopefully a healthier habit. Say, for example, if you have a habit of being on your phone for hours after you get home from work, like me, you can't just get rid of that habit overnight. You have to slowly and meticulously replace it with something else. Maybe you start exercising or start reading a book. Anything that isn't a reckless waste of your time. I mean, seriously, think about all the things that you can do if you weren't so obsessively scrolling and tapping on your phone. More than that, think about the mental clarity that you're going to have once you stop loading useless information on your brain. That is when you start accomplishing things that truly matter and things that you're going to be proud of. Now, is it going to be easy? Hell no. No, sir. But I can tell you that it will definitely be worth it. So starting from today, start practicing a more mindful phone use. And hopefully these strategies that I laid out will help you and help me get rid of this toxic habit. If you guys have any comments on my videos, I would love to hear your thoughts. So be sure to leave them on the comment section and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.